We are going to look at the cause of friction. Now, friction is caused by the irregularities on the two surfaces in contact. Now, if we look at a ball, it looks very smooth, but actually there are many irregularities present. These are just like this. These are called irregularities. And when there are two surfaces in contact with each other, suppose this is one surface A and this is another surface B. These are the two irregularities. When they are in contact with each other, these irregularities, they get interlocked with each other like this. Now this interlocking is the reason or the cause of friction. Alright, so thus we see that a ball which stands, it stops after some time. Why does it stop after some time if it is moving? Alright, we have seen previously that a ball which is moving will stop after some time, because of the irregularities between the ball and the ground. Alright, and these irregularities, they get interlocked. The more the interlocking, the more the friction, and we see that heavy objects will have more interlocking. Let us look into the types of friction. The first that we come across is static friction. If any object is just not moving but just tends to move, alright, the surface of the, for example, this is the surface of the ground, there is a box which is just not moving, it is just kept on the ground. Alright, the surface of the box and the surface of the ground, there is irregularities which gets interlocked. Alright, and due to this interlocking there is friction. This friction we call it as static friction. Another example can be given of a car which is also at rest. Alright, it is very difficult to move a car which is at rest because the irregularities of the wheels and the ground are stuck, and there is more force required to move it. Suppose I want to push such a car, it becomes very difficult due to more friction. Now the second type of friction, we call it a sliding friction. When somebody pushes an object and you try to move that object which is already moving, so those irregularities in this case, they are not so tightly locked. They are not locked properly. Alright. So there is a frictional force which comes into effect here. We call it as sliding friction, which is lesser than the static friction. Another example is of a car which is already moving slowly. It is easy to push it. Again, because the irregularities are not so tightly stuck. So less force is required to move it. The third is called as the friction. Type of friction is a rolling friction. Here we see that if an object is rolled over the surface, for example, if a box, I fit it with wheels, it is very easy to move such a box because it has got the irregularity. Here you will see that there is less force to move it because there is very less friction between, because the friction has been reduced by the movement of the wheels. Alright, this friction is called as rolling friction.